He joins us now from Brisbane. Good morning to you, Peter Doyle. Thank you for joining us on Weekend Breakfast.
Good morning, Miriam. You're very welcome.
Thank you. Now, it's looking like being a bumper Christmas for book lovers with a lot of political autobiographies and biographies due out. Is this an attempt, including, I think, Julia Gillard and Peter Garrett, is this an attempt to perhaps reclaim some of that spotlight now that things have moved on?
Perhaps not reclaim the spotlight, but certainly to process and make sense of the ordeal and verbally or in words putting out what am I thinking, what am I feeling, what do I want to do with all of this stuff is a powerful therapeutic process. So it makes sense. They want to write a little bit of self-reflection, self-analysis and process the enormous change. But no, I don't think it's seeking the limelight. I think it's healing the wounds and making sense of their own journey, yeah?
Is that the sense that you got from the piece that Julia Gillard had published last week in The Guardian Online, where she was able to spell out some of her personal feelings about what it was like to lose power and also to lay out what she thinks might be the way forward?
Absolutely, Miriam. I thought it was a good piece of work, and the thing that caught my attention, bearing in mind, as you know, in our private firm Guidelight Psychology, we work with high-profile leaders, and it's not just politics. I think this change, this transition happens to anyone. A business owner loses an empire that they've built up and they're bankrupt. A sporting identity finds they can't compete at the highest level anymore. A person who's created a career profile and suddenly finds that's politically not available. The workplace politics shift on them. We all go through grief and loss and stages of change that we have to make sense of. But the power behind all of this, and Gillard said it very, very, very strongly, it's the physical impact on the person. And she, in that article, mentioned a weight coming off her shoulders, a deep inner knowing, a sense of relief almost that constant pressure isn't going to be weighing her down. But paraphrasing the other part of what that article said, it talked about the sadness, the loss of the opportunity, the potential what could have been if only. And so I think what real leadership about is personal insight and capacity, but learning to master physical tools, intellectual tools, emotional tools, spiritual tools. We call them the four building blocks. And so when Julia talks about that physical shift, I think she's on the right pathway to integrating the experience. It's not the loss of power that matters, it's the depth of character and where you take it from there. Because positional power will come and go. Personal power, that internal mastery, that self-capacity to reflect, recover and integrate new learning, that's a lifelong leadership challenge. And I think a better conversation for people Australia-wide at the moment is not so much what happens to the ego and the positional changes of politicians, it's how do we get the right leaders in the first place and how do we cultivate leaders of character and potential. And my warm suggestion is by nurturing those four capacities, physical, intellectual, emotional, spiritual capability. Leaders need coaching. And I hope Julia Gillard or leaders of any persuasion, sporting, business, community, public service leaders, invest in that type of self-development. That's what real leadership is. It's not the external status, trappings and material position. That's a useful vehicle. It's the character and capacity of who you are that makes the leadership journey worthwhile. So yeah, Julia Gillard, Kevin Rudd, they're on a different level of journey. I hope it's a learning, growth and developmental process rather than an ego process for them, yeah?
Peter Doyle, many insights you have brought to us this morning. Thank you so much for your time on Weekend Breakfast.
Thank you for having me, Miriam. Pleasure.